You would have met her in the phase 1 also, sir, Kavita.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And
So
we have Dr.
the
Usha. Yes,
the two smiling faces, Dr. Kavita and I think Priyadarshini
Dr.
ma'am and Usha also.
Usha.
Yeah.
So unknowingly, it has become like all, our team. It has become
Very,
so.
very
Yes,
good,
sir.
very good. I think always, I think Tagore Engineering College, there is one picture, that is Usha ma'am, right? The one who stands on the
No, sir,
podium
that
of a
is
stage.
me.
No.
That's
Oh,
me.
that's you. Oh,
No,
is
sir,
it? That's you.
that's
Okay, fine.
me.
Okay.
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 Good, good.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Very good. Yeah. So how
Okay.
do you like to
So,
go
yes,
ahead?
sir.
Maybe you can start any
Yeah, I'll start,
formalities or
sir.
we can
Yeah, yeah.
discuss it. Yeah,
Yes,
please
sir.
go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I
Thank you,
think
sir.
most of the participants have joined. Thank you, sir. So, good
Yeah.
afternoon to all the participants, and a warm welcome to the speaker of the day, Prabhu Swaminathan, sir, and warm welcome to Dr. S. Usha, Associate Professor of MBA Department, and Kavita, the coordinators of the event. And also the welcome to the special guest, Harni ma'am, who has been a speaker of our session 1. Thank you, ma'am. And once again, I welcome you all for the afternoon session. So hope in the morning session, we all had a very interactive session, and hope we had a lot of takeaways. So there were a lot of questions pouring in, and but we were not able to have time to feed all the answers for the questions. Now we have a other one yeah, known personality and a very dynamic personality, Prabhu Swaminathan sir, who is known as self-esteem catalyst. Okay, a catalyst is something, an impressive word. It is something a very much needed for in our day-to-day life. Either it is for our energy we need a catalyst, or for our moral things we need a catalyst, or for when we are down we need some catalyst. So than a normal catalyst, we need an important catalyst, that is to run ourselves beyond others. That is what is our self-awareness, and next to us is your self-esteem. So we have with us Prabhu Swaminathan sir here to discuss on that topic, and he is here to discuss on self-awareness and introspection in a teacher's perspective. So even there were questions in the morning, sir, like if we are very empathetic, how to handle others, like how we take up when others take us for granted. When we are
Okay.
more empathetic, people take us for
Mm-hmm.
granted. So how to handle it, and how to have
Mm-hmm.
control over emotions. There were a lot of questions right from yesterday. So, sir is there to
Okay.
address all
Okay.
these things. And thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us in the midst of your busy schedule. And we know, like, you are running a lot of programs, and you were very kind enough when I did put an invite to you. Thank you. Thank you for your time, sir. And now I hand over the session to Kavita to give a brief introduction about the speaker of the day. Over to you, Kavita. Thank
Thank
you.
you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
It's
much.
my privilege to talk about Mr. Prabhu Swaminathan, sir. Sir is an entrepreneur, certified life and leadership coach, employability catalyst, strategy consultant, corporate trainer, motivational speaker, and a creative writer. Sir is the founder and managing director of AFMOI, that is Academy for Market Orientation India. Sir is a civil engineer graduate from Gindi Engineering College, and he has done his PG Diploma in Marketing and Finance from Kirloskar Institute of Advanced Management Studies. Sir has around 20 years of corporate experience in sales, key account management, P&L, operations, leadership, hiring, training, and project management. Sir is the pioneer of concept called Market Orientation Program for students to enhance employability. In the last 35 years, 3.5 years, Sir has motivated and impacted more than 6,500 students and 2,500 entrepreneurs, corporate professionals across 12 districts. Sir has been associated with leading brands which include O&M, Randstad India, Kelly, OGC, etc. Sir is an active writer, blogger, and a motivational speaker. Sir guides, trains, coaches, motivates students, faculties, entrepreneurs, business leaders across domains for market awareness and career opportunity across through college, NGO, foundation, and corporate activities through his initiatives of AFMOI. Academy for Market Orientation India, the training brand of LabForce Talent Solution India Private Limited. Sir has conducted various workshops, sessions on blue ocean strategy, decision making, self-esteem, leadership, predictive analytics, effective communication, creativity, etc. for corporates, entrepreneurs across India. So now, without further ado, we will turn the time to our speaker. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So before getting into the session, just technical checkups like typical orchestra or mic testing. So is everything fine? Is my slide visible and my audio clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. Great and very, very, very wonderful. I don't know whether it is drizzling or it is raining. We cannot predict the climate, but I'm sure everybody is aware of, what do you call what's happening around us. So from that angle, I just thought, okay, the topic for us is self-awareness and introspection from a teacher's perspective. But I just thought, let me what do you call give a different context to the presentation for the next 1 hour. See what I'm going to do, because it's very important to set the expectations right in the next 1 hour. So I just thought, it's a monsoon season, and of course with a very limited amount of quantity of water, it is always good. I just thought, let us call it as a kind of a drizzle. Why drizzle? Because people are over here, almost like 30 people approximately at this point in time. And the specialty of a drizzle is, it goes and falls in a particular kind of a soil. And, the aroma that we take is based on the soil, it actually falls. So that's the specialty of the rain. That's the specialty of the drizzle. So the next 1 hour, that whatever I am going to share, about the self-awareness is like a drizzle. It's like a water. Okay. The aroma is going to come based on the individual experience that what every faculty has in the system, in the life, in the classroom, with the people. So, and, it can really turn out to be a great productive session, like how the water which falls, if the cultivation is really good, I'm sure at the end of the session, we all will have great productive and extremely useful insight at the end of the session. So I just thought I should probably call it as a kind of a drizzle, because it should at the end of the session, we all should have our own aroma based on our own experience. So that's the way I would like to start it. I'm sure people had introduction, but this is not an introduction once again to talk about me, but to just tell you what motivates me to be here. Of course, last time my decibel levels were really high, to be very frank. This time my decibel levels are low, but let me try to control it, because during the session, automatically it's like an auto gear mode. I can't control. So it will actually, flow, and sometimes I will go up and down. So please excuse me in the time of technology constraints. But this is not an introduction per se, but just to tell you, I am part of you. I am part and parcel of you. I understand, I empathize, and I go through whatever you are going through or whatever we are going through. I am part and parcel of the same journey. So from that angle, yes, I am an engineer. Yes, I am an MBA guy. Yes, I have some corporate experience. Yes, I have some entrepreneurship experience. Is of course my first entrepreneurship has failed, and second entrepreneurship still in the progress of moving. But let me tell you what makes me deliver a session at this point in time today. It is like probably 3.5 to 4 years back. If I have to relate my decision to this topic, okay, I probably did an introspection about what is happening within me. Okay, am I going in the right direction? Okay, I have my values. I have certain belief systems. Okay, and unfortunately or fortunately, I am doing a particular kind of a role. Is it in line with my values? Is it in line with my belief system? If I go in that path, okay, am I really making a difference? Am I moving towards the purpose of my life? That introspection probably I made 3.5 to 4 years back. And I think that's decision that whatever I have taken out of that introspection is the first step of my self-awareness. Let me tell you, I think the session begins from there, because it is not in the slide, it is in front of you as a person talking to you. because it was not a very easy decision at midlife when you have a kid who is probably going to a reasonable school with certain amount of commitments and EMI. But let me tell you, when you make a real introspection, what is the outcome? You identify your purpose. Second, the moment you identify your purpose, okay, you take risk to own the purpose. And I'm sure there are eminent personalities and expert people I have also introduced in the beginning of the session, and they would definitely agree and second me. People call maturity as taking responsibility of one's own life. Okay, and we can, if life is all about taking responsibility and maturity is all about taking responsibility, and imagine the roles that we play in every kid's life, how matured we should be. And if we have to be so matured, imagine the kind of responsibility that we have to take. And if we have to take so much of responsibility, imagine the kind of introspection that we have to do. And what could be the byproduct of introspection is identifying our purpose. And here is a person sitting in front of you who has probably identified his purpose of saving the community in terms of educating and translating and possibly sharing the experience of whatever I have had in the last 2 decades. Of course, I don't believe in just decades or years of experience. Of course, intensity of experience matters. Even it is one second in life, your entire values and your belief system can be trashed because of one crisis incident in life. That's how probably we would have had extremely, probably not so great person like Valmiki transforming into a great person of writing, Ramayana. We always had the good to bad and bad to good, because it's because of one critical incident which happens in life. And that can happen only when, okay, we get into the mode of self-awareness. It can happen out of a continuous, consistent, disciplined effort, or at times it can also happen in a flash of a second or a flash of the moment. But that flash in a pan or a flash of a second is not something that you and I can wait for. We are not tuned for that, because that's not in our hands. It's like waiting for the rain and we don't know when it is going to come. But what ideally we can do is take efforts to move in the path of self-awareness. And that's what, that we will be discussing today in terms of self-awareness. So self-awareness for me is not only in the slides that whatever we are going to discuss today. I am sitting over here in front of a person that who was probably, because it was not a right decision, let me do, from a very comfortable job, from very having the huge EMIs and everything. I don't know whether how many of the people who are in this session who has attended my previous session, the call for me to resign a job and get into this is like one critical what do you call challenge of a student I addressed in one session 4 or 5 years back. And that person called me on a Saraswati Puja day, and then that person thanked me and then said, "You have transformed my life, and why don't you transform the entire student's life across Tamil Nadu?" And that defines my purpose. And that's a critical incident. But let me tell you, that critical incident has probably triggered my thought. But the action towards making that change or identifying my purpose has been there for the last 10 years. That's why, that critical incident has triggered and it has helped me in taking the decision. So that is how self-awareness is very important. If here is a Prabhu Swaminathan sitting in front of eminent learned community and knowledge forum, that is because of self-awareness. So let me start from there. That is how it is related to this topic. Okay, rest all is 6,500, 2,500 as the numbers. So if people still have some doubts, probably, because let me tell you, because at the end of one of the faculty development sessions, it was like a 6 days continuous faculty development sessions from morning 10 to evening 8 in one of the college. The first day I go there and I deliver a session. At the end of the day, the management calls me and then takes me to the separate cabin and said, "What is that you have done from morning, Prabhu? I was just watching in the camera. What did I ask you to do and what did you do?" I was just literally shocked. What is this? I was requested to talk about the gaps in the education system, the student-centric education, and I was very much sure the content that I have given was like absolutely the first time exposure to them. But at the end of the day, I'm hearing something from the management like this. I was literally shocked. You know why I'm saying this? I failed on the first day from the perspective of the observer, from the perspective of the customer. But I have done my job. And I'm very sure I'm standing in front of you so many days, so many times, so many sessions, so many seminars, so many classes that whatever you and I would have given from the observer's point of view would have probably been a failure. And at the end of the day, imagine the kind of disappointment that I had because the kind of efforts that I have put in, because I went to Pizza Corner, I went to Domino's, I went to cinema theater to see how an audience actually, but at the end of the day, all those things goes for a toss. At that time, what to do? That was the question also at the beginning of the session. Right? I'm sharing this because it's not that I'm a great person, that I know something better, but I can definitely tell you, I have gone through the same failures that whatever that you have gone through, and so I am qualified. That's it. It's that I have done more mistakes. It's that I have experienced the same whatever you have done. At the same time, I've also worked upon something and some kind of an experience which I would like to share. Some of this can be experience, some of this can be perspectives, but let the drizzle fall. Let the soil take it. Let the aroma come as per the individual experience. So that's why I'm qualified. So with that note, okay, I know I would always have this session to have what do you call queries in between, but excuse me, because of the technology, probably we can reserve the questions at the end because it can be a kind of a monologue, and just for the technology constraints, because I'm not, maybe if there is any relevant or very, very important, you can open the audio and ask, but I request maybe we can have the questions at the end. But so self-awareness, to be very frank, technically, I don't want to talk about it. It's very, very simple. The ability to take an honest look at your life without attachment or being it right or wrong. Yeah, so that's what it is. But that's not something I'm going to talk more about. This is something which is debatable. But what is self-awareness for Prabhu Swaminathan matters to me. When ma'am called me yesterday, and said, Prabhu, can you do this self-awareness part more from a introspecting of the teacher's perspective? Then I have to introspect myself that what is that I can do in terms of how I can actually look at self-awareness. So I just thought, what self-awareness, not just, I don't want to restrict self-awareness to just knowing about oneself. It is not complete. It is not complete. If I say that the technical definition, if it talks about that, maybe experts are there, but it is not complete for me. So for me, self-awareness is, yes, being aware of self. I broadly classify the self-awareness into two. I probably wanted to classify the self-awareness into two. One is self-awareness, which is internal, and one is self-awareness, which is external. Let me also explain. Let me try to explain rather. Okay. One is being aware of self. Yes, it is overall very, very, very generic. Don't want to get into it. But being aware of why that self. I'm sure morning, ma'am would have explained the values, the belief systems, and experiences. Being aware of why that self is important. Let me tell you, a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of experts are there. If you actually go through NLP sessions and other sessions, most of the times, people, there is actually a session to break the mind block. Right? So people don't understand that why they behave that way. A small trigger, people will be very calm, very patient, very, very empathetic. But a small trigger, one word can actually take this person to the extreme dimension. If you actually probe more, the root cause will typically come from values, beliefs, and experience. Are we aware of that? Okay, how does it matter to me as a teacher? How does it matter to me as a teacher? It definitely matters. It definitely matters. The reason is, there is a big question. The big question is my values or are my values, my belief systems, and experiences that whatever I have, in terms of technology, in terms of knowledge, in terms of beliefs, in terms of experiences, in terms of how I look at a student and how a student looked at me and how I looked at my faculty and how as a faculty he looked at me. Are all these things relevant today? That's the big question. That is why it is important. It is not just beliefs, values, and experiences and so self-awareness. No, the why is important because from a relevance point of view. I will get into it later. So if I believe something, I'm sure there are psychological experts who will probably say values, beliefs, is there a possibility to look into it psychologically and then change it? It is probably very, very kind of a permanent kind of a thing. Can I alter it? Can I change it? Yes, of course, we will look into it later. But Being aware of that is very, very important. Right? As a teacher, it is very important because relevancy to the current context, particularly when we are talking about the millennials and the 2K kids and the Gen Z, right? We will talk about a little bit later. And being aware of what's the impact of that self, that's very, very important. Okay, I know why. Okay, but at the same time, what is the impact of that self? I know it's because of this value. I know it's because of this, but what is that impact? Is it benefiting me? Let's not only talk from a social angle of benefiting the students. Let me also talk as a teacher. Is it benefiting me? I'm just giving a weird example. I may be a highly knowledgeable person, but a less accessible person. I'm less accessible, highly knowledgeable, sitting in the kind of an ivory tower, maybe a value or a virtue 20 years back. Is it really going to help me in a career today? I don't know. But the question is being aware of what's the impact of that self. Okay? Very, very important. The difference between what is expected and the why. And the why we are having such a kind of a personality is what we call as gap. We will talk about it later. So this is also very important. It is not about why we have this belief or virtues or experiences, but what is the impact? Is it benefiting the students? And is it also benefiting me and the system? That is self-awareness for me. And fourth, not only that, okay, being aware of how others perceive that self. It doesn't matter because perceptions matter. Most of the times people will know, people in the psychology will know, right? Most of the times it's not the reality, it's the perceptions of the reality which rewards. At least in the competitive, I'm not talking about a spiritual sense, at least in the competitive environment. So we may be intelligent, fair enough. We may be knowledgeable, fair enough. We may want to be really accessible, fair enough. We may want to be really approachable, fair enough. But all these steps that whatever we take, how is it perceived by the receiving community? Are we aware of that? Are we aware of that? Yes, I am aware of my values. Yes, I am aware of, I have to change. Yes, I am aware of what impact it has on us. But are we aware of what perception it gives? It's very simple like this. We will talk about one leadership towards the process, and I will try to correlate self-awareness with the leadership later, because I was just trying to do some small kind of a research and try and see how different frameworks can fit in and we can actually relate to certain things. So being aware of how others perceive that self. It's simple. I'm sure people will probably talk about this. I'm sure people would have already talked about this. Let me give an example. Two extreme examples. Mahatma Gandhiji. Let's take a very common example. Did he have high self-esteem? Did he have high regards for himself? Did he have high confidence? Yes. Other side, Osama bin Laden. Did he have high self-esteem? Yes. Did he have high confidence? Yes. Did he have high respect and regards for self? Yes. Was he aware of himself? Yes. What's the difference? What's the difference? The difference is the impact that they had on the people. They had on the society. Yes. Now apply the same. I'm not talking about, let's for the purpose of discussion, remove the names of Mahatma Gandhiji and Osama bin Laden for the purpose of discussion. But let's say we may still have the point 1, we may still have the point 2, we may still have the point 3, but whether we want to be on the positive side or whether we want to be on the negative side, we always wanted to be on the positive side. But how it is perceived is the fourth point. That is also self-awareness. It is not only 1. It is 2, it is 3, and it is 4. This is internal. This makes self-awareness a complete from an internal perspective for me. Okay, that's how we can actually look at self-awareness from a teacher's perspective, because otherwise, if we restrict to point 1, maybe it may not address holistically. Now, I'm also adding one more parameter. Okay, self-awareness, external. You know what? I just thought the topic is all about self-awareness and introspection, right? Introspection is going deep and, maybe exploring more, diving deep and everything. ultimately, what are we diving for? Right? We are diving for the student's betterment and the desired outcome. Right? So I just thought our introspection should also be in terms of understanding the self-awareness level of the students. That's very important. Not only understanding the self-awareness level of us, the wisdom and the maturity to understand the self-awareness level of the students. That introspection also should be done. Like for example, if a student of 18 years coming from a down south, okay, what will he or she be as a personality? Where will he sit in the class? Front bench or last bench? Why is he not talking? Is he really not competent, or is it a communication issue? Is he really not competent? Is it an economic issue? Is he really competent, or is there a social issue? What is that? That self-awareness of the student, that what values, what beliefs, what experiences, what society, what background that the student has come from, that self-awareness of introspection about the student is also our responsibility. That completes self-awareness for me, not only about ourselves, because only then we can become a complete teacher or a faculty. That's the need of the hour. If I talk about only internal, it's all about how I can become better. The moment I move towards external and I say there is some self-awareness, it is for which self-awareness I'm addressing. My self-awareness is for what? It is for addressing somebody else's self-awareness, which may be inefficient, which may be ineffective. And solving that self-awareness gap is our responsibility. And that self-awareness, understanding the gap, is maturity for us. And that is how we become wise. And that external self-awareness is also important. And that completes the self-awareness for me. Now, I wanted to give an enhanced definition of self-awareness based on whatever I have split. This is what my definition is. I don't have rights to give a definition per se, but I just thought I will share my thoughts from a teacher's perspective, because this is my experience. Being aware of one's values, style. By style, I mean not the personality, but the teaching and the delivery style, the beliefs, the body language, the knowledge benchmarks, industry benchmarks, which is internal, and also student self-awareness levels, which is external. At the same time, there was a question in the beginning of the session, like how to manage, right? That answers the second part. Knowing the limits of tolerance and the compromise required. Yes, your values as a faculty, from which millennial we have come from, Gen X or Gen Y, will not allow us to compromise on certain things, but we may have to tolerate certain things for the benefit of understanding the gap in the self-awareness of the student because of the social constraint that he is coming from. That is tolerance. We don't have to compromise. In that way, we can address it. So that is addressed in this definition. For the situation and the context, without internal conflict, let me tell you, I quit the job not because of purpose alone. There was an internal conflict because my values and beliefs didn't allow me to do certain things. I want to do something where I have the complete freedom, where I have the freedom to tolerance, at the same time, a right to non-compromise. That made me an entrepreneur. That made me to get into this job. It is not a job, it's a profession. And it's a dedication. So without internal conflict, the question arises, like how to handle when somebody is taking us for granted. It's because of the values and the beliefs that we have internally and the conflict that we have. And the situation in front of us is conflicting that. If I handle this way, will I become an unrespectable faculty? If I handle that way, will I become too friendly and people will take me for granted? Because there is a conflict. And to influence the students, probably for me, I look at students always from a customer's perspective for the desired positive outcome. I don't know which book will agree internationally this definition from a teacher's perspective, but this is Prabhu Swaminathan's touch of self-awareness technically from a teacher. It is debatable. We can always debate. It is just thought. I was just thinking from what all angles a teacher's self-awareness should be. So carefully chosen word by word, and based on my limited experience. That's why I said this is a drizzle based on my experience. You can add more words, you can remove certain words based on the soil that you are there as an absorbent. It doesn't matter if you remove, if it doesn't matter to me if it adds, as long as we can together influence the students and the customers for the desired positive outcome. So with that note, now the self-awareness, why I gave this definition is maybe the way that I'm looking at self-awareness is maybe beyond certain things. So I just thought that is how I'm going to go ahead with this kind of a presentation. Of course, without violating the technical part of the self-awareness, the psychology or whatever we're talking about. Okay. And interestingly, I found this. It is self-explanatory. There is something called self-awareness pyramid and everything, right? I mean, it's very simple. Okay, the pyramid at the foundation level are typically what we call as BOP. No? In the marketing phenomena, where marketing students will definitely know that term, right? So there is also a great book written by Prahalad, The Fortune at the Bottom of the Pyramid. Typically, people will know. So from the pyramid's point of view, from the bottom, we all know that values, feelings, emotions, and thoughts goes, and the bottom of the pyramid is internal. Nobody knows, right? I mean, like that. People are less aware of. The more we have to dig deep is introspection, basically, right? And what people outside see is the top part, which is behavior and actions, which is the effect. And what is the cause? It's the values and beliefs. Okay, this is self-explanatory. Okay, so what are you talking here? Don't you think I cannot go and search this in Google? No, I wanted to share this here for two things. You know, what transformed my life? Probably a reasonably impactful faculty. Okay, like one of you all, I'm sure everybody is. Maybe improvising day by day a little bit, you know, is one, which is when I have to probably talk about self-awareness of internal, that is me as a faculty, I always evaluate self from the top point of view. What is my behavior which I have to change? What is my action which I have to change? I judge myself from my top of the pyramid. I judge myself from the top of the pyramid. What is my behavior which I have to change? What is my delivery which I have to change? What is my communication which I have to change? What is my style which I have to change? Which part of the stage which I have to stand so that I have to make more impact? What chalk piece I should use? What language I should use? All these things. That is from an external point of view to judge myself, because I am delivering for some people whose self-awareness is probably not at the wisdom level. So I have to impact them. So when I judge myself as a faculty, I don't go back to my values of millennials or Gen X or Gen Y and then say, I have come from there, so my students in front of me to appreciate it. No, they won't. So when I have to judge myself, I will look at the top of the pyramid. At the same time, if I have to really talk about self-awareness for teachers, like for us, when we have to judge the students, we should not judge from the top. We should exactly go to the opposite. That is what this pyramid taught me. We should judge the students, or we should evaluate the students not only from the behaviors, not only from their actions, but also from the thoughts, the emotions, the feelings, and the values. But unfortunately, we don't have time. I perfectly understand. I'm part of you. We don't have time. We have administrative responsibilities. We have placement. We have culturals to attend. We have forms to fill. We have a lot of things. And added to that is Corona. And added to that is technology. And added to that is headphone, no internet, no bandwidth. Everything is fine. Where you want me to go and look at the values and feelings and emotions of every student in the classroom? If that's the question, my only thing is, I'm only talking. If that is not possible, at least let's not judge. At least let's not judge from actions point of view. That is self-awareness pyramid teaching me. That is the lesson which I'm learning from the self-awareness pyramid. It is not what is there in the pyramid. If I have to evaluate myself, I will evaluate from my externalities. If I have to evaluate a student is sitting in front of me, I will not judge. Why this is very important for me, I will tell you. Because very, very standard statements which I was part of, let me tell you, very, very simple. I'm not judging anybody here. I'm not judging, but I'm judging myself. I'm talking about me. Very, very stereotypical statement. right? This generation full of mobiles, this generation instant gratification, yes, it's a fact. Yes, it's a fact, no doubt. What does it mean? We are judging from behaviors and actions, right? Let's just go back and dive deep and go to the bottom and judge. If you look at it, the values and the time period that what they have grown up, what we thought was right and wrong values has actually changed to acceptable values, right? And that has made them to behave like this. So should we only judge them based on that, or should we dive deep and judge them? I'm sure. And actually, when you dive deep is where actually student-centric education comes into place. And that's how we become a self-awareness, holistic self-awareness teacher, not only understanding our self-awareness about. So that is what this pyramid talks about. So what we can remove is being judgmental only from okay, behaviors and actions. I'm not saying everybody is doing it. I'm not saying anybody is doing it, but I'm very sure we are susceptible to this kind of a judgment. That's what I'm saying. That's my submission. Okay. And I have the habit of always sharing my personal experience. Okay. Let me also tell you this experience. I did share one more experience last time, and this is another experience, right? I used to go to companies do represent me for conducting interviews. I represent the companies, for conducting interviews. So this, I have to interview on behalf of the company as an external interview agent, kind of a thing, to one B school in Karnataka. Right? Here comes a student. He sits in front of me, and this student is from finance background. From morning, almost I would have done some 10 to 15 interviews. For me, I was pretty much sure that the students were not up to the mark, and I had some challenge in terms of technical qualifications and attitude and everything. Okay, that's a reasonable judgment because I don't spend just 10-15 minutes I give enough time. So this student comes in front of me, and then he sits. This is a real picture. This is actually a real picture, what I'm showing. So this student comes in front of me, and then he sits. And then first 5 minutes, I asked the typical questions, tell me about yourself, why MBA finance and blah, blah, blah. And 5-10 minutes goes, I was not able to get a hold of his, probably judge him probably. There was a fellow interviewer sitting next to me, and then he said, he always gently taps because we have some another 25 more people to, shortlist, and why don't you just move on? I was not convinced. Frankly speaking, I was not convinced because so I just thought I will give some more time to him. And slowly, I gave more time to him. And you won't believe, the moment I shifted my, the pace, the moment I shifted my, the judgment about that student, slowly, I started asking more of probing questions, and he came out very well. And at the end of 25th minute or to 30 minutes, that's what maximum, what I had about that guy as a judgment in 5 minutes, it completely moved towards the other extreme. Not only from a softer aspects, also from the technical aspects. Let me tell you, at the end of the 25th or 30th minute, okay, and he was the best guy of all the 15 students. But unfortunately, if I have to leave him at 55 minutes, okay, that he was not a great guy, okay. But what made me to extend that session, what made me to extend that session without stopping it in 5 minutes is that external self-awareness, what I was talking about. There is something in this guy. There is something in this guy. He is serious. He is serious about this interview. He wants to prove, but he cannot prove. Is there a way in which I could make him successful rather than making him prove that I am intelligent? Is my role to enhance his intelligence, or is my role to prove that he is not intelligent and I am intelligent in asking questions? Which is going to help him? It is going to help him, because that after 5 minutes, that self-awareness made me to, okay, give that extend 25 minutes time. Let me on. This is not the highlight. This is not the highlight. This is not the highlight. The highlight is 20 minutes. You won't believe. The interview is over. I said one statement to him. This is what I said. My dear friend, from morning I have been interviewing your batch. Of all the finance students that I have interviewed, okay, I feel as of now, okay, you have outperformed. I didn't say any great statement. That's it. Either you should feel happy about it. You won't believe. He cried. He cried to the extent of he was gasping. This incident really happened. I was shocked because I was about to call these, supporting students and the placement reps, sir. He's crying and he's gasping. I don't know. I didn't do anything. There was absolutely no stressed interview or nothing. It is end of 30 minutes. I just appreciated him. For 25 minutes, he was very calm. And suddenly he's just gasping and crying. And then I said, okay, calm down. What did I do? Then he opened up. You know what he said? Sir, do you watch TV? Yes, I watch TV. Do you watch Z program channel? Yes. There is some Hindi, a dance program it is there, it seems. Dancing Idol. Have you seen one troupe? No, I haven't seen, but neighbor guy who was, yeah, I know that because a very famous dance program. I was the leader of the troupe. Okay. When my dad wanted me to do this MBA, okay, I wanted to go to dancing. I was forced to get into MBA and that to finance because my dad is an auditor. Okay, 1 year I struggled. Nothing of my finance was getting into my mind. But I didn't give up, sir. Just because my ambition and my vision is being probably not appreciated for whatever reasons. At the same time, I don't want to disappoint my father. I gave my best. Today, at the end of 1 year, when you said of all the finance students, I have outperformed them, it is the biggest credit to me because I have lost my vision. I have lost my dream for the sake of something. And I have come here. It took hell a lot of efforts for me to even understand the basics of finance from a mode in which I have got into this campus. But when you said that I have proved myself, which means I am not proud of me. I am very proud because I have given respect to my father who has put me into this finance. I didn't do injustice to that. At the same time, I also wanted to pursue my dream, which is dancing, probably 35 years or 40 years. Then we had a different discussion. Now, if there is a difference between the first 5 minutes and the extension of 25 minutes, it is this self-awareness in you. There is something in this guy. Give him a chance. Last year, I had a different example. This is self-awareness. And I'm sure in your class or in our class, there can be some Kumar, there can be some Munia, there can be some Daniel, there could be Azar, anybody, this corner, right corner. Yes. Are we ending in first 5 minutes? This 5 minutes in a 4-year can be first sem mark list or second sem arrear or probably fourth sem something else. But that is also self-awareness. That awareness is also very important. Getting into the non-judgmental mode of external self-awareness, because we have to give the benefit of them. They don't carry the experience of what we have, probably 40 to 45 years. So understanding the gap in their self-awareness is also our self-awareness. Okay. Now, this is very simple. As I told, what is that gap because of? Just two simple examples. If we generally talk about this generation is spending more and probably lavishly spending, why? It's because in our Gen X, Gen Y, whatever, 80s, 60s, 70s, depending on what age group I'm addressing, that was an era of saving. Saving was a virtue. Today, spending was a virtue because these guys have come and developed in abundance. It's not their fault. It's our fault. We have given them abundance. So, because of globalization, yes, it is our responsibility to understand that gap and that system and that values which has changed over a period of time, not be very rigid about our world and expect them to come towards us. That's not possible. Practically not. And era of risk propensity was very low. I shared this. Our dad would have probably worked for 25 years in a government organization or an organization so loyally. At the end of the 58th year, he would have retired and saved all the money, and then he would have built a house in the outskirts. But these guys have built a house at the age of 28, and the next generation is not willing to build a house. They want to just go out and entertain and experience life, and they wanted to become really self-aware. right? They are more of creative exploration. Yeah, we can talk a lot about it, but this is not a session. Creative exploration, right? So that's self-awareness. We have to be aware of the gap. I insisted this last time, but I just wanted to just touch upon. Not much. If there are new people in the session, what is that self-awareness that I'm talking about? Are we rigid in being a gurukulam, or we are flexible to move towards gurukul? Are we a kind of a, just for example, strict martinet or an MS Dhoni kind of a faculty? A Captain Cool. Why? Because the values have changed and the style has to change. System may be rigid. System may be rigid, but our style can change. This is the evolution from a directive to a non-directive. Just wanted to share this. Just not, if required, I will go deep, but this is not something. But why this is important? If you are not self-aware of that gap, we cannot move through this evolution. This evolution is important. Let me tell, a lot of teachers, personally I've experienced, are probably at a preaching and teaching stage even now. Not only that, I will share another example which is live for me. And they still not that. That's not a problem. They still believe that's the right. That's the problem. And they still want the entire crowd to come back because they are rewarded irrespective of flexibility or adaptability. It's not only for teachers, any job or any occupation or any profession for that matter, but that gurukul mentality. Do we introspect to ourselves to move from a gurukul to gurukul? I'm literally not saying gurukulam. That's not what I'm talking about. There is a kind of a evolution. Now, how much are we evolving? How much of the time that we are holding back from evolving? What stops us from from evolving towards the next generation and accepting certain things? Yes. How many of the teachers, probably there is one question which I have to ask, including me, how many times that Prabhu would have probably, be very happy in accepting, yes, my dear students, I don't know, and it happened. It's a very, very difficult challenge for me because once upon a time, don't know was a crime. Today, don't know is an asset because don't know is the first step for creativity. If as a faculty, we cannot accept I don't know, then how can, that is the first step for creativity, and how can we create better creative students? That's the biggest question that we have to answer. I'm not saying everybody is doing it. I'm not saying everybody is on those lines, but we are in the process of evolution and we have to get into it. These are the checkpoints that self-awareness is very important. This is something interesting I came across because I really, really liked it. And I just thought, this four self-awareness archetypes, can I relate to, some kind of a leadership, suddenly I just thought this is an extraordinary thing. As teachers, we can really very high internal self-awareness. We can categorize ourselves. Let us all, 36 people are there, different soil are there, 36 people, different intelligence. We will all fall under this category. 41, thank you so much. We will all fall under this category. Somewhere are there. Highly, what do you call, highly internal self-awareness is very high. On the other side, we have external self-awareness is very high. Okay. If you just look at, the bottom, this side, low internal and low external self-awareness. I'm sure that we are not of that kind at least, because at least we have moved away from that. Let's ignore this part, which typically means they don't know who they are. They don't know what they stand for. And they don't know what and why they are here in this world itself. Let us be very blunt. I'm very sure we are not there. Okay. But the other three areas are very important for us because somewhere or other we are there. Or at times we are there, at times we are moving. We are shifting this side and that side depending on so many constraints. But let's understand that. Introspectors. You know what? Introspectors. High in internal self-awareness, but low in external self-awareness. Typically speaking, the me types, they know what they are, they know the strengths, they know they are knowledgeable, but external self-awareness is all this knowledge actually generating value to the external customer who is my student? I don't know. Maybe because of my style, maybe because of my generation, which I believed, my values, which I thought, which is the right way of teaching, and the entire student to come to me, to my room and ask for a doubt. Is that right? I don't know. I'm not debating whether it is right or wrong. Is it making the desired impact in the society today? Are we getting the desired positive outcome is the question. Are some of the people on that zone? If yes, we have to move, we have to move, we have to move, and we have to evolve. That's this part. Yes, some of us could be there. And this side, when we go, high external self-awareness. You know, what the students want. How can I be close to them? I will tell you, there are examples where, you know, student-friendly faculties. You know what? Let me be very, very frank. I have seen student-friendly faculties, which I don't know whether I have the rights to use this word. Okay. Highly intellectual, highly knowledgeable, or most of the faculties are probably less accessible, and highly friendly faculties are more accessible. I'm not saying it's a judgment. I'm saying, you know, what students at the end of the day will say. And the sir dana paathukalam. Hey, that sir will not tell you anything. I will manage. When you give a project, 2 days extension we can do. I'm not saying this is faculty's fault, but highly, these people are pleasers. According to this awareness type, it is pleasers. But are we somewhere in that zone? Or at least sometime in that zone? That's the question which ma'am asked. Are they taking us for granted? Right? That's exactly the question. Highly external self-awareness. When we give that extra, when we become very close, you know, then what happens? Sometimes it is also like this. When we become very close, okay, sometimes it is like a dance role, right? I mean, like you love your son so much that at times you cannot even negatively reinforce him for whatever he is doing, right? And we get into a dilemma, right? And sometimes I used to think, okay, am I really upbringing my son in the right way? I don't know, because I give too much of space to him. Yes. Are we there? Yes. This is a wonderful quadrant. Okay, and let me relate this to the next chart. That is where the beauty is. Okay, and the fourth one is, yes, being both externally and internally aware. Right? So that is where this external self-awareness, where ideally should be there, kind of a brand, kind of a leader faculty, kind of a role model leadership, kind of a last session, my teacher, my hero is what? Kind of a, today I always say, a leader is not just a teacher or a preacher or a facilitator or a co-creator. He is a performer. He is a performer. When I teach, I dance. When I teach, I act. When I teach, I sing, because this generation wants it. I'm not saying, when I mean it, I'm just saying how much of this is required for the student. And how much of that is I'm willing to take efforts. I'm not literally meaning dancing on the stage. I'm just saying being a holistic teacher of giving what they want. Now look at this beauty. I'm just replacing this with different words. Huh? Introspectors, look at, I know faculty, let me share my experience. I know faculty when I was studying in Guindy Engineering, highly knowledgeable. No? Very strong. We all know, the entire class knows. But you know what? We'll be so scared of going and asking him a doubt. Okay? Because what happens is only intellectual students are accessible to that faculty. And probably the mediocre students are really, because, you know, even the small things, the allowances to fail was not given. That privilege was not given. So your aim is to just intelligent students more intelligent, or mediocre student actually intelligent. So that's a problem with introspectors. They know that they are, they know their values. They know they are very high in terms. They are very high in terms of internal self-awareness. But what is the external self-awareness, which is very important to them? You know, ultimately what happens? Two intelligent guys will become more super intelligent. Rest of the 40% of the guys who are mediocre, who would have probably become more intelligent or intelligent, would have not even approached him. One semester would have gone. And all those people will move at the same intellectual level to the next semester. So are we such kind of a person? I don't know. Am I? Or are you? I don't know. But we have to evolve if we are so. Now look at this side. Friendly faculty. I'm very sorry to say, let me be very open. I'm not saying this is right or wrong. Okay. I've seen faculties who joined with students and, get into some kind of an actions and behaviors also. I'm not saying that is right or wrong. I'm not saying that is judgmental, but when you go to that extent, okay, of certain things, but you can't negatively reinforce them or positively also reinforce them, because you cannot even take some kind of a positive control over them to give a desired positive result. And of course, I have to blame the system as well for that to a certain extent, right? Because the student in the next year, if he or she becomes a faculty, then it is very difficult, for the faculty to, move out of that student, because he would have been a senior, and for the previous year, next year, he would have become a faculty. All these are system constraints. But let me tell you, that's again a problem. Okay, now look at this. Look at the same chart. Now let's move to this beautiful chart. Ultimately, what is this awareness all about? You want to become a leader, right? Now look at this. Let me explain this once again and match the previous chart to this. Introspectors, you know what? They, for me, are at this leadership level bottommost. I'm not saying low, but I'm the bottommost. You know what? Highly self-aware. They wanted to gain respect by authority, that they are the faculty, by the authority of the knowledge, by the authority of the position. The question is it relevant today? I'm not saying it is wrong. Is it relevant today? Will it give a desired result? That self-awareness, is it relevant today? That's the question. That is what we are talking about. Because self-awareness itself is ultimately being about ourselves, whether it is right or wrong. So there is no question about right or wrong. They are at the introspectors at the bottom of the pyramid. Now see pleasers. You will see certain leaders, leadership out of relationship. That is leadership out of relationship. Faculties will be friendly with the students, tag along them, and every student will like that faculty. Okay, but what did you gain from that faculty in terms of knowledge? We don't know. I'm not saying that the faculty is not knowledgeable. I would like to reiterate the question. Is your knowledge transferred in the right way to the student? Is the relationship coming in the way? So they are pleasers. That is leadership by relationships and permission. But actually, the more we become aware of both the sides, internal and external, we become leadership by production. Leadership by production is like what you have done for the college or the subject, for the department, in terms of publishing papers, this, that, everything, how many articles, how many research papers, blah, 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 and extra. And what you have done for the student. What is the faculty has done for me? I was in the corner. 2 years that faculty traveled along with me. I didn't open my mouth. Not even a single day that faculty called me to his room and then asked, why are you, Prabhu, not opening your mouth? I see, is there any problem? Why don't you come and, is there any problem? Just open out to me. I am there to help. We don't know. We don't know that such kind of students may be silent somewhere, and such kind of silence may be a silenced Abdul Kalam. We don't know that. That's the most important point. Now look at the Maxwell 5 level, and the ultimatum is leadership by respect. You become a brand, or rather we become a brand, and that can happen. Now look at the parallels between these two charts. Self-awareness to leadership. Doesn't it match? This is the 4th quadrant chart. This is the pyramid chart. And I just mapped according to what terminologies which are there to this chart. And that's why self-awareness, that's why faculty self-awareness is important, because students wanted leaders. If we can't give that in our campus, they go and search in movies, they go and search in dramas, they go and search in serials, they go and search in YouTubes. Why virtual screen when we can be there as a real meaning? Why virtual screen can be leaders to them when we can really mean a lot in their life? And if something has transformed me, my dear eminent, knowledgeable, experts, it is this thought, it is this self-awareness which has transformed me, or probably not transformed, in the process of transforming me. This thought. Okay, I just thought I will share this. Next, this is very important. Somebody asked, right? I'm just trying to answer that question from a self-fulfilling prophecy point of view. I have wonderful videos to share about all these things, but I don't have time, because if I get into video, that video discussion itself will go for 2 hours. But let me make it very simple. There was a question which came to me in the beginning. Sir, are students taking for granted? Apply the self-fulfilling prophecy there. Very simple. The moment you start believing that students take us for granted, okay, invariably our behaviors and attitudes goes in that same direction of student take us for granted, and student expect us to take us for granted. So again and again we become a taken for granted faculty. We become a students taken for granted faculty. That is what actually means. But I gave that example to explain what is self-fulfilling prophecy is all about. I'm not here to teach the faculties, because you are experts. You can teach better than me. But let me tell you one more thing. What is self-fulfilling prophecy and how it is relevant in the context of self-awareness is, if I project to a student as I'm a strict faculty and I'm a knowledgeable faculty, but I'm a strict faculty, possibly we are giving that projection to the student, and because of that the student expect the same projection to us, and to reinforce that we reinforce the strictness. Again the student expect us, we become more strict, and become a strict expert, and he's the most strict person. But what is the use of the knowledge? Has it transformed 2 intelligent students to more intelligent, or 40 mediocre students to intelligent students? That's the question. That is what self-fulfilling prophecy is all about. How much of that self-fulfilling prophecy we reinforce without moving out of our comfort zone. It can be called as a comfort zone, or it can be called as rigidity, or probably lack of flexibility or adaptability. All these, whatever words I have put here, strict are all students' language. If you go and sit in the cafeteria, you know all that faculty, very strict, but some knowledge, super knowledge, but very strict. Somewhere, I'm not able to go and talk to that person like I talk to this person. These discussions will happen, right? And great knowledge, not easily understandable. Yes, we have this faculty, excellent knowledge, man. The kind of dynamics, the analysis, hydraulics, this, whatever it is, but nothing reaches me. If you can't make it simple, what's the use of that intellect? I'm not saying people are here like that, but these are students' language in the cafeteria. They also know, which means what? They value us for the knowledge, but they're probably somewhat distancing from us because we are not probably delivering in the way they wanted. Yes, we have system constraints. We can break it, but what are we doing about it is a question as an individual. Third, very, very friendly. That's what that's our 2 days project. I was a student. I used to say this. That's sir. We can always go and talk to him on the last day and ask for 2 days extension. All these things happens. But the same student, same class rep cannot go to another sir and say this. Why? Why? So this faculty wants to be friendly and achieve something, which could be the desired outcome. The other faculty wants to be that way and achieve something, which is the desired outcome. Yes, it is personalities. Yes, it is self-awareness. Yes, it is external and internal. But who is giving the optimal outcome? Yes, we have to evolve. So for me, knowledge plus impactful delivery, okay, I added the word called performance because it is not teaching, it is performance. Impactful delivery performance. If I'm sitting in a chair, okay, half of the time my chair's nut and bolt goes for a toss because I dance that much. Okay, if I'm on a stage, I speak like that. And all because, I'm not saying this is the right way. I'm saying this probably, has enabled me to do, some part a little bit better here and there. Okay, right? So, okay, sir, self-awareness, everything is fine, fantastic. Okay, now that should be logic, right? What is, okay, how did we go about? What is definition of self-awareness in Google? Fine. Then how I look at self-awareness? Internal, external. Then why internal is important? Why external is important? What are the 4 aspects of self-awareness and how typically what language that student use and how it fits into it? Are we part of it? Then look at the leadership level and how it matches. Now we have to come to a logical conclusion. Why all these things? Now look at the beauty. Now let's assume that we all have understood. We go homework, we go to the home today and look at internal, external, and do some mathematics, analysis, physics, chemistry, and strength of materials and everything. Whatever it is, if I have excluded some subject, excuse me. And we found out that my self-awareness is this, including internal, external. What does it give us? My reality. That is the biggest thing. People don't know the reality. That's the problem. People have perceptions of their own reality, but not the reality. Because the market demands perception. Market demands perception. So people started believing that is the reality. I always say this to most of the sales people in my team. Okay, just because an organization is rewarding your sales performance, don't believe that you are a salesperson. I repeat it. Just because organization is rewarding your sales performance, don't believe that you are a salesperson. You are a salesperson if your value is compatible with the job that you do. If your values are compatible with the job, because organization will give you that perception, because organization wanted you to be a performer. But how much of sleepless nights that you had to meet up with your targets, how much of sleepless nights that you had to probably give a number which is not the reality and still be in the review call? Are you peaceful? You can still be a top performer, but are you a salesperson? Yes, you are an extraordinary salesperson. That is the perception of the reality that was given to you, but that is not the reality. So be that self-awareness. I wanted that self-awareness, not the perception of reality. 1,000 students may call you are a great faculty, or you and I as a great faculty, knowledgeable, but reality is that a perception or a reality? Are we having peaceful sleep? Okay, now what happens? So you have understood the reality, or we have understood the reality. There is an expectation. That expectation is customer expectation, market expectation, technology expectation, artificial intelligence expectation, whatever it is. And my reality is here today. That is a gap. That's a gap. Why all the self-awareness? That's a gap. Now what we have to do, when we have that gap, when we minus the right action, when we do the right action from the gap, we improvise. We improvise. That one of the action is this FDP program. One of the action is this FDP program. And there are a lot of actions that we will do. I'm also learning. By sharing my knowledge, I'm also learning. It's also an FDP for me. Right? So that improvisation. Now the beauty comes. What happens with improvisation, Self-confidence comes, self-esteem comes, respect comes, wisdom comes, identity comes, reputation comes, and we become a brand. What is the word I use? A teacher should be a performer. When you become a brand, whatever you do is a performance. Whatever you do is a performance. In the process of evolution of becoming a brand, you have to perform hardly. When you become a brand, whatever you do is a performance. That is when the student will go back home and identify our picture and paste in his room, paste in his bike, paste in his mobile phone, WhatsApp DPs, carry in his purse. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. When we understand the reality according to the soil, whatever we are, and probably what one or two kind of a drizzle which has impacted on the soil. That's it. Is it possible? But acceptance of the reality and not the perceptions of the reality is important. It's bad. So where did I get this? It's there. It's there. That's 4 aspects of self-awareness: wisdom, identity, reputation, and brand. So let's move on. One more important thing which I wanted to share. I think we all do this. We all know this. Self-confidence, right? In the process of self-awareness, we go here. But what is self-esteem? Are we a self-confident faculty? We acquire knowledge, we practice, we go to FDPs, we become self-aware. Okay, we become self-aware. Okay, everything is fine. That first step, if you go back here, improvisations leads to self-confidence. Now the question is, are we a confident faculty, or we wanted to move towards a self-esteem faculty? Okay, let me try to explain my understanding of what is self-esteem out of my own experience. Okay, because for me, self-esteem is much higher than self-confidence for whatever reasons. And let me put it in a different way. Okay, this is an example. I will come to that. We all can see the picture. There are some 12 to 15 dogs. That's the market. That's the challenge. And we, because of technology, because of corona, because of whatever it is, we are like the small cat turning this side, probably, and then probably thinking or introspecting, or probably after this class going and thinking, what kind of a self-awareness I can do? Probably, maybe like this, today, or maybe yesterday, or at least some days of our life. Facing that, turning towards the dogs and shooting the challenge is confidence. Turning towards the dog and shooting the challenge, not running away, right? So turning towards the dog and facing the dog as a cat, being a cat. That cat can be our infra constraints. Our cat can be our location constraint. That cat can be any kind of a constraints, including the students. We may not get great students this batch. Those are all constraints because we have to transform them. That level, okay, I did FDP, I will learn, I'm improvising, all those things are confidence. But what is less self-esteem for me is this. I may be a cat, but still I will attack those challenges like a lion. Is it possible? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. Go back to self-fulfilling prophecy. If you show us a lion to this world, the world will expect lion from you. And just because the world is expecting lion from us, we will tend to become a lion. That is self-fulfilling prophecy. And that is how what was not possible for us in March of 2020 has become possible in December 2020. We are on the first day of December 20. We would have never imagined, because we were a cat by the time. We thought technologically certain things are not possible. We don't have an option. But today we are a lion to handle this technology in a reasonably better way. If we cannot roar like a lion, at least we can stand like a lion using the technology. Why it is possible? It is possible. We have moved from beyond the confidence. If Corona was not there, everybody, like I would have definitely told webinar and all, do you think it is going to have an impact? Is it really possible? Is it going to address? Today it is happening, which means we cannot roar like a lion. We will definitely roar one day like a lion, but we are still a cat, but we can stand like a lion, and we are standing. And a perfect example is conducting classes via webinar, because what we thought as beliefs, what we thought as values, we ourselves has broken that, and we have moved out because of adaptability. Why should Corona come and thrash us? Why can't we create our own positive coronas every day and thrash all the constraints? And that's the way to go about self-awareness. Okay, this is another incident, real-time incident, which is, this happens in front of me. August 2000, it was post-Independence Day. I was invited to one of the small school in a village, which is like 250 kilometers, probably I have to travel in a single road, 15 kilometers to 20 kilometers to go to that school in a village. Two full sessions. Morning, I have to address the diploma students, and second half, after addressing the diploma students, reasonably the session went well, and the faculty and the chairman said, I heard it was good. Why don't you address my school, which is also nearby? In the same campus. I said, okay, fine. And I went and spoke to the school principal, and the diploma polytechnic principal introduced me to the school principal. And after lunch, we are having the session, because usually my decibel levels are very, very high and my sore throat will completely get damaged. And the principal says, sir, you are going to address the school students, sir. Please be careful, sir. You don't know what's the kind of words that they will use at times. You will not know, sir. Please be very careful. It is not like a diploma kind of a college. This is a different batch, sir. Please be careful while handling it. That's the information. Frankly speaking, I was scared. Because I've addressed college students, engineering colleges, this, that, everything. But school students, and when the faculty gives this input, remote village, I don't know, because see what, they're not going to kill me. But if they throw papers, if they throw tomatoes, and whatever I have self-reputation about me will go, then I really don't know. But little bit of, really I got scared. Okay, but what is that? What is that which, that's a kind of a self-aware. This is a situation. This is the crisis which makes you to probe more deep inside, right? So during the lunchtime, right, I was just doing a kind of a self-introspection, being self-aware, more self-aware, and also external self-aware. It's a village. What do they want? Is what is coming to me is reality or perception of reality? what is coming to me as an information is reality or perception of reality. So why not that be a perception of reality? One. Second, I know I am there for a purpose. Because from Vellore to here, the payment that whatever I will tell, because this is I wanted to reiterate, this is the only profession where the quality of delivery has nothing to do with the payment. You can buy a mobile phone which is 1 lakh with X amount of features and 10,000 rupees with X amount of features. But teaching is the only profession where quality of delivery and knowledge sharing has nothing to do with money that you receive. So don't worry. So from that angle, you are there for a purpose. You are there to go and transform the lives of the student in a small town where you can lit one small lamp, where a house of a hut becomes a tiled and the tile becomes a concrete roof. That's your purpose. So why are you bothered? Why are you scared? You go there and deliver whatever you want, which is coming from your heart. I went there. Always such kind of people will have more challenge. You won't believe. 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th, look at the picture. This is the reality picture. Almost like 300 students. I'm not sure. It should be like 300. One full stretch sitting in front of me. I was given a stage and I was given a mic. The moment I started, I said, hi, power off. Power off. And for me to come, you could understand this school, come students, sit there, all those coordination, faculties were sitting in the behind and don't shout, all those chaotic environment was going on. Students were waiting for 15 minutes. First batch of students would have come and last batch would have come. And I went there after 20 minutes, all frustration on me. I was prepared for the frustration. Let me tell you. What mattered to me was not delivering the session. My first 5 to 10 minutes of the session was only addressing their frustration. And I told, first statement for me was, I know just because in the name of Prabhu Swaminathan, one chief guest will come, out of your own classes, you would have come here, sitting over here, people would have called you here, and first some 20 people would have come, another 100, then the first people would have said, who is going to come, what is this guy, why there is a delay and all those things. First of all, let me tell you, okay, and I wanted to make on time, and that's the reason that I have traveled from Chennai to here early in the morning, and I am here not just because that I am being paid here, just because I also wanted to transform your lives, and I understand what kind of a pain that you are going through for the last 15 minutes. First of all, let me surrender my apologies for that. You won't believe. And after that, everybody became silent. I'm not saying you are not doing it. I'm not saying we are not doing it. Every faculty does it in a different way. You know what? That is the first time in their entire life where they have seen only strict martinet kind of a thing where do this, do that. And here is a guy who's going and standing in front of him. And abruptly, when there is no mic, I said, I don't need mic. I will get down and walk along the 300 students in the corridor. You could just see me. I am in the center of the corridor. And this side I have 30 feet and that side I have 30 feet. I am just shouting in the same decibels for the entire 80 feet. Or 60 feet. And the student realized, here is a person who's not for him, but for me. This is what is not about the language, English, Tamil, Hindi. It's not that. It's the language that what can actually make the impact. That self-awareness external and that self-awareness internal. Right? And you know what? 1 hour planned session went on for 3.5 hours, and you won't believe, I have never, I am not a Rajnikant, I am not a Kamala Hassan, but let me tell you, they made me feel I am a celebrity. I just finished the session. The students came running towards me, giving their arms and the paper and notebook. Some people came with 10 rupee notes and they said, please put an autograph. Beyond that, I just came out of the college, and the students were in line for the bus, college bus, diploma student, and people from the queue ran and then blocked my car and then said, sir, why don't you give me an autograph? And open my window and I have to give my autograph. And I'm sure there are moments like this in your college. I'm sure there are moments like this in your lifetime. I'm sure there are moments like this. And all that I can tell you is it has happened to me. I am not a hero. I have been made as a hero by these people. It is one day in my life. It is one moment in my life. It is worth more than 1,000, 10,000 crores. And if I'm shouting, if I'm committed, if I'm delivering, if I'm surrendering, it's because of that one moment which these people gave me. And that's the satisfaction. And that is a byproduct of self-awareness. Okay, I don't want to get into this technical definition of what is confidence. It is only one simple example. Only one simple. Our confidence can go down if we fail, but never ever our self-esteem will go down even if we fail. That's the fundamental difference. That's the fundamental difference. 10 times you succeed, confidence will go up. 10 times you fail, confidence may go down, but self-esteem never goes down. I have, ma'am, how much more time we have? Because I will just keep on going then. I'm really sorry. How much time we have?
Actually, till 5 o'clock we have to.
Oh my God, then I will finish it off, ma'am. I will finish it off.
Oh,
I don't
sure,
want to
sure.
Yeah. Okay, somewhere, just wanted, I will rush it off, but with a balanced way. Somewhere we lost the self-esteem in the path of growth. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's bring back the kids in us. The kids never loses the self-esteem. The kid doesn't have confidence, but it never loses the self-esteem because it doesn't know what is right or wrong. Right? So 10 times the kids fall and we smile or laugh. That's innocence probably, but it jumps up. That's exploration. Are we willing to explore in the evolution of self-awareness is a question. Right? And final most important thing, final most important thing, let me try to end here. Just excuse me because this is my dedication. It is not a session. So just excuse me that 5 minutes. It's not about self-esteem. It's purpose. Just wanted to share this incident to define what is purpose. I'm sure most of the faculties would have shared it. It could be a hypothetical incident, but this is what is purpose is all about. Purpose is all about, it's not about what you do, but why you do. Let me just wrap it up very fastly. Here goes in 1960s and 70s. Here goes a reporter, goes to NASA, and then he wants to interview all the researchers. This is a hypothetical situation or imaginary story, but it explains the purpose. So he goes and then he wants to see the research people in the NASA, but they're all tired. This guy goes to a washroom. He sees somebody who's singing and dancing for last 24 hours and he's enjoying the work. He thought that the researchers are not the person to be interviewed. Then he went to the that washroom cleaning person, and then he asked that, I could see all the research people so tired, but you, for the last 48 hours, you are not so tired. How it is possible? And the person says, do you know, sir, what I am doing? Yes, you are cleaning the washroom. You know what he said? No, I'm not cleaning the washroom. I am cleaning the place where the people are working to be the world's #1 mission of landing on the moon for the first time. It is not what I do, it is why I do. What am I doing is going to make an impact. Is I'm going to make the people who are landing on the moon for the first time more healthy. It is I am part and parcel of the mission. That's my purpose. I'm not cleaning the washroom. I'm not just cleaning the washroom. Yes, we may be a faculty. We may not have headphones. We may not have laptops. We may have constraints. Our principle may be different. We wanted to do wonders. Our technology may not be there. Our system may not be there. We may want our student class, girls and boys, to talk and interact. Our system may not have. Our engineering college may have constraints. But what's our purpose? We can still go to that purpose. And if you are driven by the purpose, all these constraints, it's not about what we do, but why we do actually matters. If I have time, I can share a lot. But why? Why time? It's time to introspect. Now the question is, this is the final check at the end of the session. For me also, it's not only for you. In the process of preparing, are we fulfilling our own prophecy? Excuse me for typos. It may be here and there. I'm not sure. Are we fulfilling our own prophecy or minimizing the gap? Are we with confidence or are we with self-esteem as a faculty? Because I know the challenge that what many of the engineering faculties, college faculties have gone through in the last 6 months. Confident faculty or self-esteem faculty? Are we driven by the purpose? And are we aiming to become the brand? When is that my student is going to paste my photo in his bike and his car? That's the brand. Otherwise, this is the seesaw. On one side, it's the faculty. Other side, it's the students. The seesaw will always be hanging. So I'm bringing today the world's best faculty. This is a surprise. This is the virtual reality. If there is a possibility, if you are working from home, please, here I'm bringing the world's best faculty for you all. It is none other than you. Go to a room, look at the mirror, put a selfie camera and look at that. We are the best faculty if we are possibly and probably fulfilling this self-awareness checks to the maximum. So thank you so much and thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. So it was really an interesting, informating and enlightening session, sir. We thoroughly enjoyed your speech. So we are grateful for the time, your effort, the dedication and the energy you took to share your thoughts with us, sir. I'm really grateful for your dedication, sir. Seriously, and the energy you have spent, sir, from the beginning till the end, you had the same energy level. You maintained it. So I'm really a big fan of your energy, sir, because I have learned. Okay, in a future, from the next second itself, I should also inculcate that energy level, and I should also take classes like this, like you, sir. So it was really inspiring, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
participants.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. It is a very much power-packed session. As like Kavita said, we were very much inspired by your energy and you transformed us like a lion. So we will be like a roaring lion. And thank you, sir. And thank you for your extended time. And as you said, this is not a session; it is your dedication. So thank you, participants. You also extended your time. Thank you, sir, and thank you very much again.
Yeah, you can reach out to me in my mobile number, or you can email if there are any queries. Sorry, I couldn't spend time and responding to the queries. One small request: it is our dedication. So you are all dedicated, and because of you, it is successful. That's my final word. Thank you so much.
Great, sir. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, participants, and we will meet